Studies say that loneliness amps up by 100% during the holidays. And this study is based on 100% my life. Hello everyone, my name is Naomi. I'm the 32-year-old who's never had a boyfriend before, and you're watching or listening to the Hopeful Romantics Club, my podcast where we talk about all things dating, waiting, and just life as a late bloomer. So today's episode, I want to talk about loneliness, what it's like to struggle with it, the effect it's had on my life, and some tips on practical things to do to overcome it. As I'm about to walk into my 32nd Christmas single, fifth wheeling my family, so it'll be my mom, my dad, my sister, my younger sister, and her fiance, and then me. I thought I would be strong and okay to deal with this, but yesterday I did have a little mentee bee. I felt immense sadness, disappointment, and frustration over still being single. Because truth be told, I didn't think I would be here at the end of 2024. I really believed with all of my heart that I was going to meet my future husband while I was 31. I believed I saw so many signs from God promising me of that. And yeah, it's no shocker that the older you get, the harder it is. And especially when all of the rom-coms and Christmas TV shows are about like holiday romances and couples getting together. It's hard, and it's been very hard, but just rest in the comfort knowing that you're not alone and that it's actually completely normal for feelings to be amplified during the holidays. Not just of loneliness, but people who are in relationships have certain problems and issues that are heightened. And I've mentioned it in a podcast before, but I think we live our life always and constantly waiting for the next thing, which means we're always going to constantly be disappointed by the things that we don't have in our life yet or haven't accomplished in our life yet, which is why bringing it back to gratitude is one of the top things for getting over loneliness. What I'll do is, I think I mentioned this in a podcast episode before, but I would write a list of all the things that I've done in the past week, month, years even, however long it takes, to see and recognize that there are a lot of things in my life that I wouldn't have done if I was in a relationship. Another thing that I do, which, could be cheesy, hopefully my future husband doesn't see it that way, but I actually write letters to my future husband, and I have an entire box that goes back to 2019. And every time I feel lonely, or especially during specific holidays like my birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, I'll write a letter to him knowing that he's there somewhere out in the world. I'll let him know what I'm currently doing in my life, how I'm feeling, and how I'm excited to hopefully finally meet him. The third thing that I do is I just try to get out of the house. I find that when I'm sitting home alone, that is when my anxiety and sadness and doubt tends to just amplify. So keeping busy, whether it's with friends or just doing things that I love, like going for a hike, thrift shopping, or even treating myself to my favorite meal, that really helps me to get out of my head. And also recognize that I have so much to be grateful for. Like the fact that I live a 7-minute drive away from one of the world's most beautiful hikes. You can't be sad when you're looking over the entire Hollywood Hills at sunset. Number 3, I have been in my hosting era, which does not come naturally from me because I am an introvert who gets drained by other people. But that's what I've done this season. I hosted a holiday party because I'm like, when will I ever live alone, have a pink Christmas tree, and be able to invite all of the amazing girls that I've met this year together for fellowship and community. And we had a potluck. Like, hosting, I think, is a great way to serve others and to realize that there are so many people around you who do love you. Which leads to number 5, which is to find people in a similar season as you. I feel like even just 2 years ago, I was one of the only single people I knew. I had 1 or 2 other friends to share this season with, but ever since I moved, I've been surrounded by a multitude of girls, which does make me think, why are there so many amazing, beautiful single girls? Like, where are the hot, amazing, beautiful single guys? Asking them out. Anyways, that's a question we might not get answered until we die and get to ask Jesus himself. But being around other women who are chasing their dreams and working on becoming the better version of themselves and living their best lives at the same time is truly such a game changer. And I know a lot of people are like, how do I find these people? Personally, for me, it was through church and Bible studies, and if faith is not your thing, I also have a Facebook group called the Hopeful Romantics Club, and there are so many Facebook groups for like different cities for where you live. Like I know in Los Angeles, there's one called Social Girls of LA or something like that, but I find even getting involved in hobbies like tennis and improv, those are the ones that I did personally. I was able to meet a lot of really great people. So yes, it does take effort. They're not going to come knocking on your door, which honestly is what I waited for my entire life. But once you do put yourself out there, you'll realize that there are so many amazing people who have similar experiences as you, are in a similar stage of life, as opposed to the people around you if they're already married or coupled up or whatever it is. And the last tip is to journal. I know, so cliche, so simple, but man, does it help. And personally for me, I do feel like God really does speak to me through journaling. As I'm typing out things, I am getting revelations and wisdom and knowledge and understanding and all of that. So journaling is important because it also helps you to just document this time in your life so that when you do have the promise, when you are with a future boyfriend or husband, you're able to look back and be like, wow, I totally forgot I was feeling that way and struggled with that. And look at me now. I have so much to be grateful for. So yeah, those are the practical tips, which I know are easier said than done. And sometimes I think what I've learned this year is we just need to sit in the sadness, sit with the loneliness, and realize that it's normal and okay to feel these things. I am still hopeful and know that there is a amazing, perfect guy out there for me. But I think this year I've really dealt with the disappointment of a delayed timeline and realizing that when I do meet this future person, our timeline is going to be expedited. And I would have loved a slower burn. I would have loved to date him for 3 to 4 years, then maybe get engaged for a year, then married and live life without kids for 3 to 4 years. But the truth is that being 32 years old, I don't think I have a decade to spend doing that, especially if I want kids. God's timing is perfect and all of that, and I do believe it will probably happen fast for me, but I am still sad about the fact that it is going to move really quickly and I didn't get to spend my 20s growing up with this person. And I guess I want to touch on my dating goals for 2025 as I enter this new year. I'm able to look back on 2024 and see that while I didn't really progress as much as I wanted in my dating life, aka get to the point of getting a boyfriend, at least I went on a couple dates. I went on 4 dates this year, which is 4 more first dates than I've ever been on in my entire life. And I was finally able to realize that I am beautiful as I am. I'm worthy to go out on dates. I radiate light and like I am a gift, because before I was really struggling with my self-esteem, and my low self-esteem and my acne and my scars was truly what kept me away from dating and really intentionally trying to do. And so in 2025, I think I want to up that number and go from 4 to maybe 50. That seems a little bit ambitious, but 1 date a week could be good for growth. Also, I think I'm more open to dating apps as opposed to strictly relying on meeting men in the wild, because yeah, as an introvert, it just doesn't come easy. It's a little more difficult, but I am getting more comfortable making eye contact and smiling with dudes in the wild. So I'm excited to take you guys along on my dating journey in 2025. And I just want you to know that if this year didn't go as you expected, if you're still single and you're dealing with the disappointment of that, you're not alone. I am here with you. I am crying with you sometimes, myself to sleep, but I'm also trusting and knowing that God's timeline for us is perfect. And he's currently writing the best love story, better than any rom-com that is out there. So have hope, know that you are loved, you are beautiful, you are worthy, and ignore the aunts and uncles who try to say you're less than or are trying to expedite God's timeline for your life, because when you do meet that person, they're gonna meet him and be like, wow, this guy was worth the wait. At least that's something I'm specifically praying for.